Jesus and the Essenes. Because of Dolores Cannon's work on in past life regression, people often ask me about the Essenes. And there are very distinctive things that I can say about the Essenes, and some that I can't. The story about Jeshua as a child being involved with the Essenes, I have no knowledge of that. I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. Wasn't there, right? What I can tell you about the Essenes is we avoided the area of Qumran. We avoided actually going near the Essenes. They, according to Jeshua, they were very disappointed in him. And the reason they were very disappointed in him is that the Essenes were very much old school. They very much were close followers of the Torah and the law of Moses. And you have to remember that the Torah is filled with God's mighty arm, God's powerful, this army smite that army, and the destruction of entire cities in God's name. They're very much into that apocalyptic sort of God, and Jeshua was not that, and so we avoided the area around the Essenes. Now, for them to have that sort of reaction, or for them to have that sort of relationship, they had to have known each other at some point. They had to have, for them to actually have had the discussions where they're disappointed in them, because Jeshua's the guy who said turn the other cheek. He's the guy who talking about love and compassion, and it was completely against the Essene teachings. The Essene, in fact, the first war against Rome was led by an Essene leader. Actually, unfortunately, his name was John the Essene. The Essenes were very much into the apocalyptic nature of God, and very much into the strong arm of God, the judgment, and the apocalyptic ending of anybody who wasn't Jewish, and so it was very much the Essenes were very much zealots. They were very, very not only adamant but fiercely adamant about the ancient law in the Torah, and were very much against anybody who didn't follow it, who didn't follow the ancient law of the Torah. And when you look at the teachings of the Essenes, you find very quickly that was their entire base. Their entire base is all about the idea of the coming Messiah, and we are going to overcome, and they had a very negative thought process around what God was. God was literally fierce war and judgment against anybody who was against them. So when Jeshua came back from India and came back wiser and more loving, the Essenes wanted nothing to do with him, because it was against everything they believed. Belief is a powerful thing. When you get into belief itself, right now the only people who ever give me any negative feedback are the ones whose beliefs are challenged, right? Are the ones who are like, well, you're wrong, and they want to fight against it because they want to justify their beliefs. The Essenes had, like I said, they were zealots about their belief. They were literally zealots about their belief. They really wanted to conquer Rome. They really wanted to win. Now, I don't have memories of Simon. Now, Simon the Zealot would not surprise me if he had a connection to the Essenes, if he truly was a zealot, because that was the mindset of the Essenes, was the zealotous nature of war and retribution against anybody who wasn't didn't think like they did. I'll tell you, as John Davis, I went to Qumran, and I walked through the site, and I stood overlooking the hole where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. And unlike the Garden Tomb on the outskirts of Jerusalem, where I walked into the place and got nauseous and started instantly weeping, I had no feeling at all at Qumran. I was like, okay, this is cool. I had no emotional sensation about being in that place. So I had no connection to it. I had nothing that felt right about it. Galilee totally felt right. The hill where the Sermon on the Mount was done, I totally felt something there. The Temple of Capernaum, I stood in the Temple of Capernaum, which is an archaeological site, and totally, it was an interesting thing because it felt right, but something was wrong, and then I found out that the only part of the original temple was the foundation stones. Everything above that was Roman. So it was interesting. That was an interesting place to go to. But as far as the Essenes are concerned, I don't have a lot of memories of them because they shunned Jeshua. They shunned him because he did not live up to what they wanted him to live up to. Had he thought like they did and had the beliefs that they did, he would have been the leader of that entire place. I'm sure of it, because that's why it was so vehement. They expected him to be, and he wasn't. He didn't turn out to be someone who was going to, talk judgment, hate, and fear, and anxiety, and throw that into the world. He spoke of something entirely different, and it didn't sit well. So we did not actually. When he walked with me, we did not hang out with the Essenes. We did not go to the Essene compounds because it wasn't a fit. It just wasn't a fit. So that's my thought on the Essenes. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.